Let me run a test on you. Here's a very special rock. It's a rock which is 72 grams heavy. I won't tell you the story behind this rock, but my first question to you would be, how much would you pay for it? Would you pay $1? 50 cents? Perhaps more? Think about it. I can actually change the amount of money you're prepared to pay for this rock, increasing it from perhaps $1 to a little bit more. Why? Well, let me tell you a story. The 9th of November 1989, this little rock created history. It took place at the Berlin Wall, where the wall was pulled down and where there was a history happening between Eastern Germany and Western Germany. This was actually the very first rock which came out of the wall. Are you sure you still want to pay that number of money you said to me? Or do we actually want to pay a little bit more because of the story I told you? It's interesting to see how a true story actually can change our mind about the value of a simple rock. Now I actually might be able to increase that value a little bit more because this is a true story. The rock I'm holding in your hands was actually from 1989. It actually is 20 years older. It came back to the 21st of July 1969, where a man for the first time was putting his feet on the moon. The fascinating thing is, when Neil Armstrong for the first time ever put his feet on the moon, the 21st of July 1969, he picked up this rock. I received it from him, and this is the rock we have in mind, the first rock from the moon. How much would you pay for it? Would you pay more than the dollar you most likely had in mind the first time I showed it to you? Let's be honest, you most likely would pay more, but the story actually made you change your mind because basically this is an association you're creating with a rock, which is not different. The rock is exactly the same, but the story surrounding it is very different. Now this is branding. It's another way of creating a value around the product where you suddenly have an emotional engagement with it. Why be prepared to change our mind for the price of a simple rock? Well, RockShox in 1822, when he was born, might be able to be the person finding the answer. He developed a methodology where he took some ink on a piece of paper, he folded the paper and unfolded it, and suddenly he had a symbol on the paper. The fascinating thing was when people looked at the paper and they had to explain what they saw, quite often they saw various different things. They realized through the test that people really didn't see what was on the paper. They saw what they saw in their minds. Now in 1922, RockShox actually committed suicide because people claimed it was sexual symbols he put on the paper, ironically as it sounds. But what we learned in the meantime was that mankind today is actually creating brands in their minds and not in reality in the product. That's the reason why I'm saying the brands are not produced in the factory, they're produced in your head. So what is the most extreme degree of brand loyalty, you might ask? Well, I actually think it's when a consumer is prepared to tattoo the brand name on their arms, on their legs. Is it happening? You bet it is. Doing the research around the world, we realize that the most common brands around the world, actually all of them have one thing in common. People are prepared to tattoo their names on the arms. My question to you is, who do you think is ranking number 1, 2, 3 and 4 as the brands in the world where people are most prepared to tattoo them on the arm? Have a think about it, and I'll come back after your pause. What answer did you come up with? Well, I bet you never thought about Harley Davidson. In fact, 18.9% of consumers around the world are prepared to tattoo a Harley Davidson tattoo on their arm. Number 2, well, that's Disney. Disney is doing pretty well with more than 14% of consumers around the world prepared to tattoo the Disney ears onto the arm. Number 3, well, we all know the brand. Coca-Cola. With close to 7% of the consumers around the world prepared to tattoo the Coca-Cola logo on their arm. But I bet one thing, you'd never think about who number 4 was. A small company founded in 1996 was today worth billions. actually is number 4, Google. It's a product or a brand which we can't really touch or feel. Still, people are prepared around the world in 6.6% of the cases to tattoo it on their arm. Now my question is, what makes people do this? Well, there are some philosophies around it which I think is fascinating. Philosophies which are making sure that Harley-Davidson is number 1, that Google is number 4. Let me share them with you. Stay tuned, I'll take you through it in the next section.